Testing, testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Can you guys hear me? Hey, Skelly Bones, welcome. Pepe Instigator, aka Brian's new dishwasher. I don't know why you changed your name, but welcome. Well, what was the? Yeah, I was like, why does it look like that? It's like a full-on demon. What were you supposed to type originally? Okay. How many people do we have? 11. No, that's not bad. Now you guys may have noticed that I'm going live a little bit on the earlier side. Usually I like to go live like around 2ish or so, but I actually do have a bit of a prior engagement, a little bit. Well, it's not really an engagement because there's technically nothing. I could afford some extra time, but just to be safe, I thought to myself, let's do half an hour earlier, just to make sure I'm covered on time. I could have technically done 2 o'clock, but I'm like, you know what? Let's just do 1:30, because then I'm just gonna give myself an excuse to like lock into editing, but at the same time, I don't want to give myself just half an hour extra to lock in on editing, and then I have to go live, and then after live, immediately have to go in live, I have to head out. So I'm like, nah, let's just do it early. Captain Have Fun's World, welcome to the stream. Can you do a custom Robin? My friend Lauren Lester did the voice of Robin for animated series. He's in NYC now doing theater. He loves he's a bigger fan of it. That's cool to hear. Captain Fun's World. I don't do customs. Sorry, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know if you have me confused with someone else, but I don't do custom figures. My ultimate respects to the people that have the patience and the skill to do customs, but I don't do anything like that. So yeah, we'll give it a few minutes, but ultimately, I was thinking to myself like, should I stream this week? I know it's been a while since I streamed, so I was kind of going back and forth up until it was practically decided for me, more or less, when either on Monday or Tuesday, McFarlane Toys announced that they were going to be doing their 12th episode of the McFarlane Toy Show, mainly dedicated to recapping what was revealed at Toy Fair for the people that attended, of which I was actually allowed to be, but I just couldn't afford to do so. For those of you who don't remember me saying, I actually applied to be a press influencer to cover Toy Fair, and surprisingly, I actually was approved. But I got to be honest, I just did it on a bit of a whim because I literally did it because I didn't think I was gonna get in. But lo and behold, I was, and then I felt even worse knowing that I did it so on a whim, and I was just so expecting to get rejected that I didn't really think about the fact that I can't afford a plane ride or a hotel package for myself, let alone for both me and my girlfriend on Valentine's Day weekend, which is what Toy Fair was almost a month ago, practically a month ago, exactly. Actually, now that I think about it, um, so I didn't go, but I'm hoping that at least I planted the foundation to hopefully get approved for next year if I'm still doing this next year. Um, so I'll be sick. Plus, it'll give me an excuse to visit New York. But if I ever visit New York, I definitely don't want it to just be for a weekend. I want it to be for at least half a week, like beyond the weekend, going into like Tuesday or Wednesday, and then maybe Thursday hit the flight back before things get busy the following weekend. But yeah, they announced that they were gonna do a recap that was also gonna be um compacted in with some more reveals and even a couple of giveaways. So I told myself, all right, now we have an excuse, and it's also pretty fitting that this toy show was announced around the same time that out of nowhere, as I posted in the community post, new McFarlane Batman figures, practically made up of an entire wave, just randomly hit Walmart. and it was a contact that was associated with Ahsoka the Geek that provided the figures, and Ahsoka the Geek broke the story that there were new Batmans just out of nowhere that were never hinted at. And within a few days of Ahsoka the Geek announcing that he came across these figures via his contact, McFarlane went ahead and announced the pre-order and posted the photos in what kind of, there could be evidence proving the contrary, but honestly, it looked a little like damage control. Like, hey, we were gonna save these for the McFarlane Toy Show, but now we gotta announce them because they're already making the rounds. So we gotta post those photos up for the pre-orders, tell people that there's platinums out there, etc. But that wasn't the only thing that was also showcased. Well, that wasn't the only thing that was kind of brought to light regarding McFarlane DC Multiverse, especially as McFarlane DC Multiverse is a very hot topic to talk about within the community right now, considering how things are edging out with them having the license for at least the remainder of the year. Because there's other things that were also brought to the forefront regarding DC Multiverse, but just not in an official capacity, more so in a leaking capacity. So we're going to talk a little bit about those leaks that have been making the rounds in like certain documents around the web. Some possible additions to today's show: thoughts on the new Mafex pre-orders, i.e. 2099 Venom and Negative Spidey. Oh, it's funny because I do remember those. Should I just say, I don't think they're really a topic, because otherwise I would have covered them on a topic. They kind of just came and went. I gotta be honest, I have no interest in those figures. I did see them. The 2099 Venom has at least enough vibrancy in the color that makes me look at it and go that it looks kind of neat, but do I have any kind of like inner desire in me to ever want to pick that figure up? Not really. And then the Negative Spidey is just, it just looks like the comic Spidey that I already have, just black and white. I don't know, it just doesn't speak to me. Our biggest successes are often a joke. Screw over something I pick for is when we're the most successful. When I try to do an audition, boom, I get the part. What? Captain, are you just rambling now? Lightning round on the 1/6 Batman's, i.e. Arkham Origins, Absolute, Dark Knight Returns, Hot Toys. Lightning round, okay. I'll give it a lightning round. The Arkham Origins was initially cool at first, up until I saw some more photos and noticed that there needs to be some kind of refinement on the torso part, especially around the abdominal area. It looks too stretched, so I'm hoping that they're able to kind of close that off just a little bit more. Absolute Batman looks dope, and I actually caved in. Even though I'm trying to exit 1/6 scale, I caved because of the special edition that Sideshow has, and I did put down a pre-order, but to be determined, because little by little it looks like I'm gonna be edging out of 1/6 because it's becoming overly expensive. The tariff situation that continues to fluctuate, that I thought was gonna get nipped in the bud recently, only it looks like that's not the case anymore. It's still ever present. And then Hot Toys, it's just getting kind of complacent. If a matter of fact, like Hot Toys announced a figure last night that I'm like, did they just look at it and go, yeah, we're good with that? And I'm like, really? I'm sorry, hot take, but that Silver Surfer they announced last night looks like trash. It looks like a giant Marvel Legends, especially with those joints. But because it's Hot Toys, people are gonna I don't know. I see a lot of comments saying, "Wow, this is amazing," and I'm like, this is one of the few times where I'm like, I don't think this is even a subjective thing. This objectively just looks like a giant Marvel Legends that somebody just painted chrome over. Am I insane? And then the Dark Knight Returns Hot Toys. Are you talking about the first one, or you're probably pointing at the newer one with the battle damage that admittedly looks cool, and I like that it comes with the alternate Bruce Wayne head. But my OCD wants to go with just the clean version instead of the battle damage, because if I get the battle damage, I need to get the clean version too. I'm gonna have to get both. CM Brock, welcome to stream. Not really. We're just kind of shooting the shit here for a few minutes before I get into the whole McFarlane Toy Show. Which, speaking of which, I should probably bring up the stream, which literally just ended about 45 minutes ago. Where is it? Oh, right. Just go in my history. There we go. Jesus Christ. That was loud. And I gotta be honest, guys, don't be surprised if I go through this McFarlane Toy Show just a little bit on the quick side, because the more I watch, the more I'm like, guys, I even mentioned it in the chat one time, and I think it just kind of got overlooked, but I did post only one comment in the chat in the entire show, and the comment was, pacing is key. Because it was not paced very well. And they've had shows that were paced pretty nicely in the past. They've done it well before. But today's show was terribly paced, if I'm being honest, because all of the good stuff was at the end, so you're just making this way. Like, I'm sorry, the Toy Fair thing needs to be kind of interspersed, because most people already know what was shown at Toy Fair. People have phones. People have, stuff that were present at Toy Fair taking high-resolution videos. Sometimes even better-looking videos and photos that you guys did. McFarlane blocked me from making a comparison of their Cow versus Fonjoy. They didn't like that. Yeah. Like, that's criticism. Like, if you start saying derogatory stuff, then sure, that's warranted of, I don't know. And when you say, Captain, when you say you got blocked by McFarlane, on what platform was that on? What do you mean, Skelly Bones? That you landed on a banger. Don't exit 1/6, bro. I enjoy and have consulted your reviews in the past. I appreciate that, Brian's New Dishwasher, but realistically, they don't do well. I believe that the last one I did hasn't even cracked 1,000 views. Hell, the last video period I made hasn't cracked 1,000 views. It hasn't even cracked 400 views, which was the one on the comparing the in-art Joker with the Hot Toys Joker, and I tried to paint it as like a retrospective, like looking back at the figures being out for a year, because with Hot Toys, you really do need to be one of the big guys, and you know who I'm talking about. Justin's Collection, Well Foxification, D Knight, or even better yet, I should probably just say you need to be working for Hot Toys so you can get some of those figures ahead of time, whether or not it's legitimate or ethical. Because by the time anybody in the States gets them, this is about a month later, those reviews are already out for the people that already got them at Hong Kong. Why should they bother watching you? I'm sorry. I know it's a very cynical point of view, but yeah, like I've tried doing it. I've tried, to do retrospective style videos on those Hot Toys figures, but they just don't do well. And the other angle to look at it from is that the figures are just so expensive that, you say that, Brian, but there's a hefty amount of people out there that probably look at just the thumbnail and say, oh, this is a Hot Toys video. They look cool. I've seen photos, but I'm not going to watch this video because I'm not even going to buy the figure. It's too expensive. Like, it's not even a slight against the creator or even the figure. They just automatically know that the figure in question is about $400 or up. So they're going to be like, I can't afford it, so why should I even bother watching the video? It's going to happen. So yeah, my last Hot Toys related video hasn't even cracked 400 views. Almost 2 weeks ago. My last video period from last week, that was on the Mayfix Miles, hasn't been doing well. And to be honest, I guess that's kind of also like a little bit of a state of address comment or tangent that I'm going to go on here before tackling McFarlane, is that, yeah, I'll be fully transparent. The channel's not doing well. And I know that half is like, I feel like it's a 50-50 split between being my fault for maybe getting lazy, because there's a part of my brain that gets a little bit of imposter syndrome and thinks, okay, am I like not working harder on the thumbnails? Am I not working hard enough on the title? Do I have to change up the template? Do I need to approach filming B-roll a different style, or maybe the opposite? Maybe stop shooting so much B-roll because people don't give a fuck about that anymore, and they want something just more straightforward, so that output could be quicker. But that's like 50% of the reasoning I have as to why the channel's not doing well. The other 50% is frankly just YouTube being ass with their algorithm, in terms of, whenever I pull up YouTube, I just see movie clips. And then when I do get something from a content creator I never heard of, I'm sorry, but it's a content creator who's not really going above and beyond on the title and thumbnail that makes me not want to click. So it's like, okay, you're either giving me super like stuff that doesn't need promotion, and then you're giving me the wrong thing that requires promotion because they're a smaller creator, but you should be able to look at the thumbnail and be like, yeah, this is just a random screenshot from the video. They didn't bother to change it up. So this guy or girl, whoever, is not doing the effort. Why are you feeding that into my algorithm? It's fucked. It's just overall fucked. And then, on top of the fact that they're introducing AI tools to distinguish what the algorithm is, it's like, yeah. So that's why it's 50-50, I feel, as to why my channel has not been doing well, especially with the market that I tackled, which in and of itself is also struggling. Like the action figure community, along with video games and movies, it's hurting because the figures are getting more expensive, but the figures aren't necessarily getting any better. Other things are getting expensive. Gas is worse than it's ever been because of why. And so people are going to have to ultimately make the choice. Like this week, do I want to pre-order those new McFarlanes that just went up, or do I want gas? Spoiler alert, I didn't pre-order this morning's pre-orders. I didn't. Didn't set my alarm. I didn't. And most of them, they're practically gone. I think the only area where you can maybe get them, and obviously the reason is because the shipping is kind of insane, is Entertainment Earth. But other than that, where's the... Here we go. McFarlane Toy Store. Let me go to the website itself. It's probably sold. What the hell? They have? Why is Zur and R Batman just randomly on the site now? What? What? Huh. Honestly, this might be telling. J.M. Herrera. What the? Hey, Duque. Duque, pick up the phone. Hello? What the? Yeah, I've been recapping a Scary Movie a little bit recently because of the new trailer and the new Scream movie, and I'm like, alright, yeah, this movie still holds up. Have you ever seen FunJoy figures? Their figures have great head sculpts. Even the body soft goods are better. Captain, have I been dealing with FunJoy? This just came in because I have the Mafex on hold over at HobbyLink Japan, because the new Mafex 2.0 recently released, but it entered my warehouse, and because of the tariffs and everything, I don't want figures from HobbyLink Japan getting sent over one by one, because that's a charge, So I'm trying to be as smart as possible and trying to bank as many releases at HobbyLink Japan into one singular box as possible, so that I can hopefully save some change on shipping and on those duties, as they call them, which are basically the tariffs. So I got this guy recently, so I can make a three-way comparison between this guy, that new Mafex 2.0 from the Zack Snyder cut of the Justice League interpretation, and the McFarlane, which I actually pulled out of my storage unit recently. It's down there. But yeah, FunJoy Nightmare Batman. And there was one other Fonjoy that I wanted to get, but it's kind of a long story. McFarlane Toy Store is $8 for shipping if you're in LA. I'm in LA. Retired film guy. Captain, I mean, can I ask you, you're retired. How do you see the film industry right now? Like, if somebody wanted to be a filmmaker, is it really even the move right now with how everything is right now regarding AI, regarding studios looking at something and saying that's not profitable, regardless of how original of a story it is? Streaming, where like I get excited for a movie, I get kind of busy, or I'm low on money, and then by the time I am either got the time or I got the money, movies are already out on digital. So what's the point? I don't know. I'm burnt out. Anyways, let me stop. Captain, yeah, I think one of the options is DHL, but then they also have Hobby Link or Japan Small Pack, I think it's called, which is technically their cheapest option, but it still has the duties. And then of course they have FedEx, which is much pricier, but I do really like that FedEx allows me to switch to like a drop-off point, so I can go to like a specific point to pick it up. That way it doesn't just sit either on my porch or my mom starts bitching about a big box coming in. Is there a way to send some feedback concerning videos, maybe as a way to pulse check your community? What do you mean, Brian? You mean like a poll or something on the community post? Because technically, yeah, I can do that. There was actually recently something that kind of crossed my mind, where I thought to myself, should I create a? And I know that this is gonna sound fatiguing, I guess, because recently I actually watched a whole 30-minute video essay on the epidemic of second channels on YouTube. You notice like almost every creator that you like, period, has a second channel now. And at times the second channel almost becomes like the main channel, and the main channel almost becomes like a whole another thing. I really don't want that to happen, but I have been kind of teasing in my head with the idea of creating a second channel where those segments that I cut out of my stream will go to, where it's just going to be that. That way, maybe the algorithm for my main channel here that's just dedicated to the actual reviews and opinion pieces and video essays will be a bit more succinct, so it all looks cleaner. So there's a part of me that kind of wants to create a second channel that's just gonna have the clips, those moments, those 5 to maybe 10 or 12-minute segments that are spliced out of the stream that I send them to post on here. And the main reason why is because I'll admit, like I said, some of the recent ones haven't been doing well, or they've been getting like kind of lowish engagement. Or they're a little slower to get that engagement. And also, Brian New Dishwasher, to kind of go back, I just scrolled a little bit on my YouTube app. Prior to the Joker Hot Toys versus InArt video, the last Hot Toys related video that I did was the Bane, which was my last video of 2025. And that one hasn't even cracked 700 views. So again, it's in the numbers. Hot Toys videos don't do well on my channel at all. They don't. So every time I post one, I just get like I said, it's difficult to not feel the spirit inside just getting punched and punched and punched. And I'm like, all right, dude, I'm not even gonna do the videos anymore. If I'm not doing the videos, then I'm spending quite a bit of money on things that I can't even display because they just go back in storage, which is why recently I've been kind of selling them off. Platform 14, welcome to the stream. When does the 89 Joker will go up? I mean, I was going to save it for later, but honestly, screw it. I'll just tell you. Pre-orders go live the 18th. They mentioned that during the McFarlane Toy Show, which I should probably pull on over to the side. But before I do it real quick, let me just show you guys this. This is actually really, really interesting. Check it. I thought it was sold out. Hush 2 by himself is sold out, but the other two aren't. And the 3-pack, the bundle pack, is still available. You could almost make the argument that this is still concerning, since it kind of proves my point that, yeah, some people are just like, yeah, I don't have the money right now. Like I said, gas is getting worse. We're in the $5 now here in California. For those of you who don't live watching that don't live in California, we're at $5 a gallon. Yeah, $5 a gallon. So if your tank is running low on the same week that these new McFarlane pre-orders go live, you're honestly gonna be like, yeah, I have to like go to work, or I have to go to school, or I have to go to places, run errands and stuff. Like, you have to be logical here. And I think this is telling. The fact that this 3-pack that I personally thought was gonna be sold out is not sold out. It's actually still in stock, and you even get a discount. Now, I'm not saying that this is indicative of all storefronts. Like I said, Entertainment Earth also still has them in stock, but at the same time, they're a little bit marked up, and you also have to pay extra for shipping. Granted, McFarlane also here too, you have to pay for shipping. I think somebody here said that if you live in LA, you have to pay $9 for shipping, and I'm like, all right, you almost kind of wish that they had like a brick and mortar, so that you could just go and pick it up. Some places that don't charge for pre-orders immediately, like Amazon and BBTS, are gone, but for the obvious reason that you don't get charged when you pre-order. You can lock down the pre-order and then worry about it later. But I honestly feel like that is it. If it wasn't for that, I think those figures would still be in stock on those storefronts as well. So, yeah. Do you think they'll surprise with any more theatrical Batman releases, or are they winding down? I gotta be honest, Platform, I think they're winding down. I think they are. And there's actually some hints in the documents that I'm going to cover in a little while. Peter Moline 555, welcome to stream. Yeah, I'm trying not to think about that. Because out of all those new Batmans that came out in that wave, that's the only one that I legit would like to pick up if I see it in store. As soon as Ahsoka posted that breaking news, I told myself, if I'm going somewhere like the gym or to go get food or whatever, and there happens to be a Walmart in the vicinity, I'll go inside and check it out and see if they have anything. I haven't found anything. And if I do find something, like I said, it has to be that Bethlehem Batman, that Damian Batman with the coat, because it's the most unique looking one out of the bunch, and it's the one that actually speaks to me and goes, I want that. I actually want, not only do I want to genuinely just own it and collect it, but I also want to cover it on the channel. I was going to say how I feel about the rest of the wave, but let me hold off until I bring up the McFarlane Toys stream here. Yo, bro, UPF Arkham Knight photos about to drop within next month or May. So, JM, is that pretty much their way of saying that that official pre? Because I know that there's some storefronts that you can already pre-order the Arkham Knight LPCC. But if those photos drop, are those very clean promo photos where they announce that, hey, you can now legitimately pre-order? Because if so, then okay, that's probably when I'll lock down the pre-order, like at Toys Metaverse or Bombas B. Okay, let's do this. Enough people are here. Let's talk about this McFarlane toy show. And to do that, let me put on my headset. Hopefully we're not too loud. Can you guys hear?
Brian, welcome back.
Thank you, AJ. Good to be here.
You guys should be able to hear him.
Thank you.
All right, so reminder as always is to keep it positive and respectful in the comments. Zero tolerance for hate and negativity, especially towards others. Our faithful and trusty moderators are there to have a good time with you in the comments. So keep it constructive and keep it fun. And we're gonna have a good time today. We have a lot to cover, and we're just gonna get right into it. Brian, you ready?
That's good.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, let's go. First, before we get
All right, I'm gonna mute him now. And the reason why is because, like I said, the only thing that I posted in the chat was one comment, and that comment was pacing is key. And the reason for why that was the only comment that I posted is because I truly do feel like the pacing was a little off with this one, since for a good chunk of this first, I almost want to say like half of this show, not the best paced. Can you repeat that? The commercial came up? Okay. Basically earlier when you said that the photos are gonna go up, are these like the official promo photos for Arkham Knight, where they usually release them along with like the official pre-order launch? Because I know that there's some storefronts that you can technically already pre-order, but it's not like legit. And now the pre-order will be like, okay, with a possible release window for the Arkham Knight. If you work out, look up during okay. Captain, I appreciate you tuning in and watching, but let's keep it on topic. Because if there's one pet peeve that I don't like, that when I'm watching other streamers, is when someone starts saying stuff that's kind of random and not pertinent to the discussion, and I'm like, no. And since now I'm in charge of the stream, I'm sorry, but I'm one of those people that keeps things like, hey. Also, by the way, just to kind of indicate how ass YouTube is becoming, there's my stream, there's the chat, and then sandwiched in the middle, just randomly, an ad. And there you go, now it's gone. But you must have seen that. There you go. They literally just sandwiched an ad in the middle of my whole fucking cell phone screen. I fucking hate this place. Sorry, you mentioned working out. Did I? When did I mention that? I don't know. I'm losing my mind. Yes, you can pre-order legit right now. Promo will release once it's going to start picking up after Chinese New Year. They didn't answer any of my hard-hitting questions today, and they're not going to. They're not going to. I can see them looking over on the chat, and I don't know what's going on. But we try to ask the questions. We're trying to be respectful about it, and at the same time, I'm like, we're asking these questions because we want the company to grow, because we've been a fan since 2021. But now you guys really are just getting kind of complacent with it. And if that's how you want to roll, okay, we'll keep it respectable, but we will respectably take our wallets elsewhere. um. So, anyways, back to the show here, and like I said in the stream, I only mentioned one chat, and that was the pacing is key, because they started with recapping things, announcements in terms of like the collectathon, the McFarlane week at GameStop that's going to be coming up in April. Housekeeping, essentially. It was pretty much just nonstop housekeeping with the GameStop stuff, the Walmart Con March 19th next week at 9 a.m. Miss me with that shit because I'm not waking up early. I didn't even wake up early today for the pre-orders. Entertainment Earth is going to have a superpowers thing going on in the summer. Big Bad Toy Store. What is this? What was the Big Bad Toy Store thing? Okay, whatever that was. Amazon. Whatever this was. Customer appreciation thing for Spawn shirts. EB Games. They touched a little bit on the Lich King GameStop announcement. Oh, I'm sorry, the Elite Edition Lich King, which is definitely right up their alley in terms of like body sculpt and paint detail, because McFarlane loves this kind of thing. I'm not a Warcraft guy though, so I'm not a WoW guy. Recapping on the TAS mods that recently came out. If you guys are interested in that, I'm not. Wait, Demon Slayer. Again, I'm not. Although recently there's an ad that's been popping up in my YouTube videos where it just shows one of these guys from Demon Slayer just getting slapped upside the face. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And then they recapped the pre-orders that went live this morning, which are, of course, these 3 figures, which I guess really, really, really quick, since, like I said, everybody and their mother already knows about these figures, but I guess in hindsight, we should probably touch upon them. If I can find, was it Facebook where I saved it? I think it was maybe Facebook. Hopefully I didn't unsave it since... Oh, no, I didn't. Oh, no. Yeah, I didn't. Cool. I kept it. So, going back to that post by Ahsoka the Geek on the 9th, which was on Monday, right? 4 days ago, yeah. This grand announcement by Ahsoka, who was hit up by the contact, undead.m_ over on Instagram, I think, found the entire wave of the new Batman figures at the Walmart in Westminster, California, which is only about an hour and a half from where I live, so... That's why I was like, that's what gave me the little incentive to be like, all right, if I'm ever in the area, I'll check out the Walmart. And so, yeah, he posted photos along with barcodes, and this is pretty much the entirety of the way, which is 5 whole figures here. And I remember laying my eyes on this set. And like I said, immediately, the one that I gravitated to the most is going to be that Damien Batman, the Batman of Bethlehem, which is this one with the coat. With the coat, the long collar, the leathery looking piece here at the top, the elongated belt wrapping around it, the gloves. It had the biggest appeal to me, but like somebody else in the chat mentioned, it is a little scary. I haven't watched reviews. I'm just praying to God that we're not dealing with like one of those figures where they got a big coat, and because of the coat, McFarlane opts in for just that simple rod piece for the torso and no filling inside whatsoever, to where you can just kind of like press the torso and you don't feel anything. Generally, it's something you always find with like suited figures. I remember the last one that was incredibly egregious and I hated it was the Red Platinum Scarecrow from Batman Begins, where you feel up on that middle torso, there's nothing in there. It's just a rod for the torso to bend and articulate, but otherwise there's no like actual... And I get it from like a business standpoint, it makes sense to cut your costs and not sculpt that in, but then it makes it, considering that wait, what happened, guys? Can you guys hear something? Can you guys hear me? Something wrong with the voice? All right. No, because then like I'm like, all right, there's less plastic here. I know that I'm speaking into the void when I say this. If there's less plastic in here, then I should also be spending less money, right? How can something that is, this hollow inside be priced at the same as that of the Batman that's like fully sculpted, fully like this, but they both have the prime? Oh, okay. Oh, you guys are saying like hear it, like we hear you, like we agree. Okay, sorry, I misinterpreted. Um, so I'm praying to God that that's not the case with this Damien Batman, because out of all these, this is the one that I'm the most interested on. Because when looking at the remainder of that wave, going back to Ahsoka's photo here, immediately I recognized each and every single other Batman figure that's been done before, just repainted. I think the most obvious one is Hush 2 Batman, because it's quite literally the Hush Batman with a brighter coat of paint, a much sharper bat symbol maybe, and that's it. And that's your Hush 2. The second most egregious one would probably be the Justice League Batman over here, because it's literally the Task Force video game Batman, only without the pixel effects and without the Build-A-Figure pieces. That's it. It's even got the same head. It's the Nightfall Buck. It's got the same shades of color, if anything. They just did away with the pixel effect. That's it. One that almost kind of intrigued me until I laid closer eyes on the body is this purple one, because of the skull on the... Hold on, let me see if there's a better picture. There's a better picture. This one, with the skull on the symbol, and then, of course, that smiling head that is compelling. But then you look at the body and you go, yeah, it's the Spawn Batman. Only purple. It's even got the giant rubberized top-heavy cape, of which has been released twice. You got the black one that came with Spawn in that 2-pack, and then you got the singular, also red platinum, or I think it was like silver platinum, release that I got, and I even covered on the channel, that was blue and gray. It's the same thing. There's that Damien Batman of Bethlehem, which, like I said, is the only one that I actually do have a little bit of interest in. And then you got the white, and then you got the White Knight. The White Lantern Batman, which again also kind of popped with the silver and white. But then I look closely, and you got some reused parts. If anything, it's probably the same as that Green Lantern Collector's Edition Batman, also with the open mouth face. But this time, instead of green and black, and with a little bit of white, he's just all white with the chrome. And that's it. So the fact that 4 of these figures are pre-existing figures reskinned, and you only got one unique one, my excitement of random Batman figures out in the wild just immediately dissipated, almost immediately. And I told myself, the only one I truly do want to find in a store, it's going to be this guy. And my excitement dissipated so much that, like I said, pre-orders went live this morning. Didn't really wake up, didn't do it. So, have fun to those that collected, but I was good. And then a quick video from Toy Fair from the Todd father himself, now rocking a very thin mustache and goatee. Is now doing a recap here of the Image Comics Elite Edition, along with a couple of others that were also included in the Elite Edition, including the Doomslayer, which, like I said, at the end of the day, I do like, even with its flaws, but for $60, it's making me incredibly pick and choosy of where I'm going next with the Elite Edition, if I even go anywhere with it. The Hellboy figure, which, kudos to Hellboy fans. I don't know what the fuck this is. The Poppy Playtime. What is this? I don't even know what this is. Some skibidi toilet type shit. But McFarlane be capitalizing. Critters, things, again, like so much fluff that I'm like, you could have included one of those like 8 or 9 announcements towards the end. You could have at least sprinkled 1 or 2 here at the beginning. I'm sorry. You could have taken some of the ones that were out over here towards the end, put them here towards the front. Because now we're dealing with pins here, which seemed like the kind of thing that's probably cool to see in person, but not to dedicate this whole time into. Then some of the Spawn figures, which Spawn has their fans, and these figures do look really well detailed and painted and sculpted and things like that. By the way, Gavin Smee 6218, welcome to the stream. I haven't said hi to you. I love and hate the Todd father. Hold on, I'm trying to catch up on the. I'm trying to pull up chat on the phone. That way I can stay in tune with you guys without having to switch the screen. Rubber capes are so 2021. Not when they don't cost that much. And then JM also brewed due to a Warner Brothers disturbance of Batman figures will be pushed back or delayed. This affected InArt, UPF, and Mayfex, and probably Mattel. Wait, so Warner Brothers is affecting all of those companies? Is that why they've been delaying the stuff? Because I noticed the tactical suit Zack Snyder Justice League Batman, I think it was supposed to come out in like March, and now it's been punted all the way to like May. Now, JM, you said that the disturbance with Batman figures, this is why this affected InArt, UPF, and Mayfex. But at the same time, I'm like, why is InArt... I feel like it's kind of sketchy since InArt went ahead and launched a pre-order for the Red Death. And they're acting like there's no problem there. You know what I mean? Like, they're taking pre-orders, but I'm like, if you guys are getting delayed, why are you guys still telling me that this is the release window in September? Now, thankfully, I haven't pre-ordered yet. Maybe that's a good reason why. By the way, Arkham Knight will be coming out first and before Hush, Batman, and Batman Beyond. Probably because they got that one locked down first before any of those like possible delays, huh? Do you guys have kids? I bought all my stuff for my son. Didn't buy figures from 98 to 2022. I do not. I'm not even sure if I want any. Because this world is so fucked that at the same time, I'm like, what am I doing bringing them into this? Like, I'm finding... Well, I'm not really finding. I'm getting shown more and more reasons to not have kids. Like, no one's making a compelling argument to have them. Except maybe my girlfriend. Oh, JM, that's actually a pretty good point. It could be the whole Paramount thing. That is actually a pretty good... It lines up. Jesus Christ. Also, can we talk about how the release today that no one came out with... That is true. Hold on, go back. Let's see if I still have... And that... It's funny because I noticed before, but I'm just remembering it now. That this guy, they don't come with a... And even the accessories that come with Hush, they're accessories we've seen before. It's the same hands and the same batarangs. So it costs nothing. And they're still, you know, $24.99 base or $26.99 if you get them at like Entertainment Earth, GameStop. Because I know GameStop is charging $26.99 for these Red Platinums. Yeah, that's why out of this entire wave, like I said, it's a big maybe. And I didn't even pre-order him. I technically can still pre-order him through, like I said, Entertainment Earth or the McFarlane Toy Store. But I don't even want to do that. I'd rather just take my chances to see if I find him at Walmart. Just grab it, walk out. No shipping, no nothing. Otherwise, I'm good. Fuck, man. Anyways, that's enough of that. Let's go back to the show. I guess I could close the Ahsoka post. Ahsoka the Geek. Because then they talked about Spawn. And then they showed off a little bit of those Helldivers figures that are going to be Elite Editions. With also not only more of the Warhammer stuff. Which they tackled Warhammer before. But I guess they're getting a little bit more elaborate with it and practically releasing their own version of Elite Edition that is, again, up their alley in terms of big, bulky sculpts with their big bodies and the weapons and the machinery. But at least at the end of this, they did tease to look out for the God of War stuff since they made that license acquisition with Sony. Then they, of course, recapped on the Mortal Kombat classic stuff that they did show at Toy Fair that is more or less repaints because you got pretty much a katana repaint to be passed off as Jade, which frankly I find I'm not even the biggest Mortal Kombat fan, and even I know that Jade does not use the fans. She uses her bow staff with the green effects. Why she got? It's making it more obvious that it's just a katana repaint, and gave her a tan pretty much. Obviously, the Noob Saibot is. It's funny because it kind of makes sense that Noob Saibot is just a black repaint of Sub-Zero because lore-wise, that is actually accurate. And the only compelling one to kind of resonate a little bit with Brian here, that this was his favorite out of the whole wave, is the Johnny Cage one because it definitely has something kind of newish to it. But I've said this before, I said this again, they screwed themselves, they shot themselves in the foot by charging these things $30 a pop, and they barely come with any accessories. It's just the figure, that's it. $30. Even more than DC Multiverse. I'm sorry, but I'm going to say between Mortal Kombat and DC, DC's more bankable, so Mortal Kombat should be more affordable to bring people in. And I told myself, I've said this out loud, that when it came to Mortal Kombat, this could have been the license to be the big moneymaker to fill in the void when they lose the DC license. And now it looks like they shot themselves in the foot with that. I'm guessing that maybe they can make up a little bit with the Marvel Rival stuff, which is still going to be mostly statues in the 1/10 and 1/6, along with these backpack things. I guess. Some Fallout Cause Baby looking things that is also another point of concern that I think gets touched upon a little bit more later, because it really does feel like they're doing an awful lot of like blind bag stuff, like the kind of stuff that you find in blind bags. Okay, here we go. This thing, the quiz Q, it starts with a Q, quick something. That is apparently, they even say it in the video.
Brand is back with a blind box program here featuring Q-Figs from QMX. The brand is back with a blind box program here. On to Q-Figs from QMX. The brand is back with a blind box program here featuring
blind box. So gambling. Jason Selector, welcome to the stream. Skelly Bones. David, don't get kids. There are demons. Coming from someone with no kids, but seen them online. At the same time, I'm also not ruling out the possibility, because I have heard some people say that they hated kids, but then as soon as they had their first one, they were like, I hate kids, but I will kill someone for this. It's like, all right. People who are even like gamers and nerds like me, where as soon as they had their first kid, they were like, yeah, I don't like kids, but I will cut a bitch for my own son. I'm like, all right. So I know that's the possibility of that happening. And you get an excuse to get even more figures. I hate that it's being normalized. Yeah, and it's propped up here once, twice. Because you have these with the animated series stuff. And then we saw them a little earlier before with the Fallout things right there. You have the Nuka-Cola branded T60 there, which is kind of cute. Kind of a compelling design, but I don't want it. Then we got some sports stuff, including the mascots, which again, the mascots are kind of compelling. It's kind of funny and quirky, but again, don't speak to me. Wait, hold on. Are these more blind bags? I don't think they're blind bags, but still, they're got the little chibi thing going. Guys, we are more than halfway through the show, and then we have these boxes here.
Harry Potter figure. So, you can do that for Potter. You get the Gryffindor shield, and it transforms into an HP Harry Potter figure. So, you can do that for every brand. If you switch back to the video there.
I mean, they're cute party favors. Okay, then we get into some of the resin statues. A little bit of a recap. Oh, look, a resin statue.
Last year,
Poison Ivy. It would be nice if maybe they actually made a figure. Which they might. Actually, she might be in the documents, but we'll check. Not those documents. McFarlane DC Multiverse League documents. A couple more of those statues. The Samurai Joker, which actually looks pretty nice. Some of the superpowers, and then a recap of the animated series stuff that was shown off at Toy Fair. We technically did cover this when, like I said, those initial photos were released weeks ago. So they're just doing their own version of a recap. It's funny how during this recap they even mentioned that, these Batman DC Direct, McFarlane Toys DC Direct collaborative Batman the Animated Series Build-A-Figures and 2-packs that are Target exclusive. And I out loud, I didn't say it in the chat, but over here as I'm watching, I'm like, Target exclusive until they show up at Ross. Because they do. Because they do, Gavin. No, I don't ignore most of the chat. I'm actually watching. It's just that not everything needs to have a response. Just saying. I'm looking at the chat right now on my phone. So, you want to try that again? Come on, man. Come on. Bro, with the way that you make your videos, you should do more than just Batman and Spider-Man. I know you like more things. Yeah, I mean, I have teased with the idea of just making... Because honestly, that was going to be... I kind of teased doing that a little bit with when I was starting to do some of the Corn Sweat Superman stuff. Because I was like, okay, let me test these videos out and see how they do. Which, technically speaking, they do pretty well. So I'm not ruling that out of, tackling other things in the style. It's just that it gets so competitive that, years ago, the advice was to niche down to talk about stuff that never gets tiring. And that's always in the zeitgeist of discussion. Of course, when it comes to Marvel, when it comes to DC, who are the big money makers, they're big cash cows, Spider-Man and Batman. And I love both characters. So that's what ultimately created the basis of the channel. But I never ruled out the possibility of talking about other stuff, especially if the channel ever went in the direction of being like a full-time thing, which it's not right now. I have to be fully transparent. It's not a full-time thing right now. But there was this alternate reality where I thought, okay, let's say I got 100,000 subscribers. The channel's now a full-time endeavor. Yeah, I will be posting the occasional video where, say for example, right now, hypothetically, in an alternate timeline, right now the channel was 100,000 subscribers. I went full-time. I can make full-time money every month off of this channel. You guys probably would have seen a Resident Evil Requiem review on this channel by now. Yeah, I would have been open to it. You guys would have seen an RE9 review on here. When the game comes out, you guys probably would have seen a review of Crimson Desert, because I'm interested in that. When it comes to movies, I probably would have done a review of an out-of-theater reaction type of thing of Project Hail Mary, because I'm really interested in that. Or when Doom comes out, or when the Odyssey comes out. So yeah, I almost definitely like other things. This is not like my life. It's just that it's just the way that I niche down to stay focused and to at least have a channel that at least resembles something that is much different than what others do. Granted, I think most recent times and most recent analytics have proved that that's no longer the case. Fuck me, right? Anyways, they talked about more of the animated stuff, more of a recap with these rotating shots, and then they did show a rotating shot out of box imagery of the Brandon Routh Superman. They didn't disclose a pre-order
with the Brandon Routh figure.
Wait.
The last tour here we got. I'll throw it back to you, Brian.
Yeah, so the last kind of live action outside of George Reeves with the Brandon Routh
outside of George
figure,
Reeves
to complete the kind of modern era of theatrical Superman. So if you have the Chris Reeve, the Henry Cavill, etc., theatrical Supermans, Brandon Routh figure to complete the kind of modern era of theatrical Superman. So
some wording there, some very interesting wording there. When he said complete, I thought, okay, that's it. Superman's done. But then he said the modern, and I'm like, it's almost like he kind of undid the complete part and said, oh, do we have a George Reeves? And he did mention George Reeves a little earlier in the comment. Granted, it was just like saying, hey, outside of George Reeves is it. So is there going to be a George Reeves? A both colored and black and white variant? So maybe I was wrong. I was thinking that they weren't gonna touch that, considering the like I said, the morbid nature of George Reeves' tenure as Superman. But maybe not. They probably figured, hey, Flash did it. Yeah, us making a figure tames by comparison. Send Papaton an email to make all into. Yeah, I'll touch on that a little bit later. But there goes the superpower sign. This is always waiting on the Mezco. Wait, Captain, are you talking about you're saying that you bought Corn Sweat Superman for all those brands? Are you going to be getting the figure arts? Because I know the figure arts just came out not so long ago, I think. Because a lot of people get tired of most old reviewers who don't admire the figure and do it quickly. You're more passionate. Well, what do you mean by people getting tired? Because, like I said, you have Anthony Customs, who's not a bad reviewer. Nothing against him, but I'm just looking at the very technical things about his, like, the length of reviews and how simplistic the thumbnails are. I watched a few of his videos, and he's just very straightforward, saying this is the figure, and yeah, like that. And he's in and out in, like I said, no more than 15 minutes. Those videos are in the tens of thousands, sometimes even hundreds of thousands of views. So, well, what's the problem? I don't know if anybody truly is getting tired, because the numbers don't show it. There was a comment, and I didn't really take it to heart. I just remembered it right now, actually. I kind of forgot about it, and I just made me realize right now because I'm talking about length. There was one comment I got that was actually kind of funny. Somebody said that I'm making the videos longer on purpose so I can get more ad revenue. That literally doesn't make any sense because A, I let YouTube put the ads without my involvement to do it automatically at the best spots, like they allow it to do or give the option to do. And then B, the only way I get ad revenue is if you actually keep watching the video to get to the ad. So ultimately it's on you, dude. If you don't like the video, then stop watching, and then boom, I don't get as much ad revenue. Like, it is what it is. So, what? It just made me laugh. I didn't even respond to it. I was just like, whatever. And I'll be transparent. Yeah, I would love to get more ad revenue, but I want to do it authentically by creating a bigger channel with a bigger following that every time somebody watches a video, they genuinely want to watch it towards the end because they want to actually watch the video. They don't want to just inflate it. Like, and obviously I know that it turns people off. Hell, I know when I'm watching like a podcast, I play it, I get an ad, and then within a minute I get another ad. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? So I try to mitigate that. So I want things to be organic. And in order to do that, I simply just need a wider reach. That's why, to me, the magic number, quote unquote, I use that term loosely because it's a very general magic number, but the magic number would be 100,000 subscribers, because then I know that at least every time I post a video, it'll get 1,000 views within a day, and I'm like, well, that's at least a decent chunk of change on the side. And then the more the more videos, more chunks of change that then amount to a good income stream. Not by taking one video and then putting a bunch of ads on it. I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna build a tall skyscraper. I'd rather have smaller buildings, but then cover more land. That's what I want to do. What was the line? I'm not in the crystal meth business. I'm in the empire business. And Brian's new dishwasher, dude, I've been so tempted with YouTube Premium lately, where I'm like, they're making it so egregious with the ads that you then have no choice but to get premium. They made the problem worse so that they can make the solution that they created much more enticing. That's why I haven't pulled the trigger on it yet, because I know that it's a solution to a problem that they created. That's what pisses me off. Yeah, and Captain, I wholeheartedly agree with you. It's neat that they recapped and showed a turntable shot of Brandon Routh's Superman here, but it just further highlights what I've already mentioned, where it's just a Christopher Reeve Superman body, just with some extra lining sculpted into the side and into the boots, the different color change, the cloth cape, and that's it. And the raised Superman symbol, and then of course a different head. But otherwise, I know for a fact that as soon as I feel that body, it's going to feel like the Christopher Reeve Superman. Which I guess if you want to keep it within the lore, it's supposed to be the same Superman, right? That's the whole basis of Returns, is that it's supposed to be the same Christopher Reeve timeline. But I digress. And then, of course, a recap of the recent theatrical editions that I do not want, but strangely I am finding just fucking bogus. The figures that I don't want, I actually have found the Christopher Reeve, and I think I found the Joker. No, I'm sorry, the Bane ones. And I'm like, cool, don't want them. Some more Todd's mods, including that crazy ass looking plastic man there. Funny. And then they did start to 40 minutes into their hour-long show. 2/3. They finally got to the new releases. Again, I'm telling you, they should have taken some of this stuff and interspersed it in between the Toy Fair stuff. I'm sorry. Yes, I already have the figure arts from Japan for a month or so ago. Its head looks like Christopher McDonald. Yeah, Shooter McGavin, I said that. But it's the best articulated figure I've ever seen. Looks straight up interesting. I had pre-orders for that, but then I canceled because I was like, I can't do it. Shooter McGavin head. So their first big reveal, I think they said, was a page puncher.
Let's get right into our final reveals here. First up, who was a part of the initial tease from CCXP, we've got Black Canary with real fishnet. Those fishnets are soft goods. They are not painted on in this case, so it's really cool looking Black Canary. She does come with multiple faceplates. We've got, of course, she had to have her
Sonic Scream head.
Sonic Scream head there. So I know there's been a lot more too. We got Shazam, Freddie Freeman.
Basically, this first batch was a bunch of figures that, like, they mentioned at it wasn't Toy Fair, it was the event before CCXP, I think the Brazilian one, where they showed a bunch of renders of these, and now they're fully like realized in 3D format. And it's basically Black Canary, Freddie Freeman, Shazam, Vigilante, the classic look, with of course the cowboy kind of outfit. Freddie Freeman's got the cape right there, and pretty bold color palette, but I'm telling you right now, I'm not interested in any of these until the one that's probably going to make the site crash when pre-orders go live next week on Wednesday the 18th. And that is, of course, as the chat was saying in unison, the Jackie Boy. Jack Nicholson inspired Joker from the 89 comic, as they legally have to say and reiterate. This is from the 89 comic. So undoubtedly, this guy's probably going to be causing some major issues Wednesday morning. Pre-orders go live the 18th. If anybody needs to reiterate what time it is, it's usually at noon Eastern or 9 a.m. Pacific. All right. So set your alarms. This is probably going to be my first actual immediate pre-order, day one pre-order. So I probably will be waking up early to try and lock this one either directly through McFarlane or maybe through Amazon. I don't know. I haven't decided, but this will probably make for some content on the channel. And I'm like, all right, out of everything that was revealed here, probably this 89 Joker, since it'll pair well with the 3 or 4 Keatons that have been released, such and such. So yeah. Then we did get a classic Lobo that actually does look kind of neat, but like I said, I'm not the biggest Lobo guy. Comes with the dolphin. I got to be honest, I do not know the lore explanation by the dolphin, but to kind of build up hype for Supergirl, not only do we have Lobo, but also a classic Supergirl. So that's going to come right there as well. This time she'll have the skirt so people can stop being upset about the leggings that the last one, the Target exclusive one, had. And then apparently more cowls in the form of the Batman Beyond, which this also got showcased a little bit at that presentation in CCXP, which was the cowl for Batman Beyond, Red Hood, and Azrael Nightfall Batman. The 1/3, I believe. These are all 1/3. So, some cool desk pieces. And then I think, yes, here we go. So to give a little bit of devil's advocate here, I said earlier that, they didn't get to the brand new reveals until 2/3 into an hour-long stream. Technically, an hour-long stream that shouldn't have been an hour-long, should probably have been a little bit shorter, because unfortunately, around the 45-minute mark, they did happen to stumble on some technical difficulties. AJ lost power and could not get his router back up running for literally, I think he said it was only about 5 minutes, right? It was kind of 7 minutes, actually, more like 7 minutes. So yeah, it would have been a much shorter show, but it wasn't until the 52-minute mark that AJ returned. So yeah, that was damn. But I know it's not his fault. His power went out. He even said that the power came back on immediately. It was just that the router was not wanting to call back in. But to be fair across the board, this kind of makes me feel like the next move. I know that money-wise, it makes sense to have these guys do it remotely, but if you guys want to be, I don't know, it's just, it would be a neater idea if maybe they did have some kind of dedicated studio space, because then we can prevent this from happening. And the show would probably be taken a bit more seriously. When it comes to like showing the stuff, the resolution will probably be a little bit nicer on the turntable. I'm sorry, it's just like I said, it's the video production part of me where I'm like, as much as I dislike them, borderline hate them, you cannot deny the production quality behind the Hasbro Pulse Marvel Legends streams, with the setup, with the camera, with the cuts, the lavalier mics. And I understand that this is Hasbro we're talking about. They got the money to create that kind of spot. But at the same time, you almost don't even need that much money to have a dedicated office space where you can show some of the stuff off. And hell, you probably don't even need the figures in hand. You could probably still cut to those rotating turntable shots. But you can have like a 2-3 camera setup that you could switch between on the Elgato, button thing. and cut between the cameras and mic them up with the DJI Studio Lab mics that almost everybody has right now, and we can prevent things like this happening. It's just my personal feedback. It is like 95% not happening at this point because otherwise I probably would have implemented it by now. But it's just something to kind of toss into the ether because I don't know. Like I said, I'm just speaking at the wall at this point. Christian Corbett, welcome to the stream. Thanks for having this joke. I'll buy one or two of my son. I have their Supergirl figure. Did you know that they had screw up faces? I have one in box. Wait, the McFarlane Supergirl that I just mentioned? The one with the cake? Yeah, and that's another thing too, Skelly Bones. Like, I'm genuinely surprised they have not done a Peacemaker show vigilante. I mean, look at his suit. That he's ripe for a DC Multiverse McFarlane figure. Room tour when? My room is a mess. It's not worthy of a tour, if I'm being honest. It just isn't. So finally, when he came back, they came back to a reveal. So we got another double pack that I think is simply just taking pre-existing figures and doubling them, just like I've been mentioning time and time again with the Grim Knight and Killer Croc 2-pack, the Merciless and Batman Who Laughs 2-pack. It looks like they're continuing the trend, only this time we're leaning more towards Superman with Mongol. I believe this Mongol already came out, right? Only this time he's all pink. And then the mulleted Superman with straps. I don't know what that's about. Interesting, but not my cup of tea. So skipping ahead. We then get into something that I actually do admit looks kind of neat. And it seems like the kind of figure that if I see it like in store, I'll probably be like, sure, yoink. Which I believe is a Page Puncher.
So we got a Page Puncher entry coming up here. This is your Robin Teen Titans figure.
Teen Titans Robin.
Just a great look.
This actually looks kind of neat.
So excited to get him in the mix here. I think fans will be happy with this one as well. And then we'll move on. OMAC. So
color looks nice, but I recognize that body from like the Batman Beyond wave. I think it was used again for Dark Stars.
Awesome figure.
It's a little bit robust. It's a little tough to move. And that diaper, look at that! Look at the diaper.
JSA fans, we've got Starman here with his star rod, his glasses, the jacket, everything about this figure.
Starman,
incredible.
Mid torso cut's a little ugly, but otherwise looks
if
neat.
You've been collecting like Dr. Midnight and some of the other JSA characters we've released over the years, most recently over the last year, quite frankly, this is another must-have here. We'll go to the next one. AJ, which is Bronze Tiger for your Suicide Squad fans.
Another one that looks interesting in terms of like an objective figure, but I have no idea who this character is. I never heard of him.
Like John Ostrander era. This is a perfect figure to pick up. He looks great. And then this was a gangbuster figure as well. And then there was one in the comments.
Don't know who he is.
I don't know if AJ is going to do it next. Let's see.
I am.
Okay, good. Larfleeze,
I have an idea of him, and I know a lot of people in the chat were asking for him, and he actually does pop. He does look cool, but it's definitively one of the figures that I look at and go, it looks cool. Don't want him though.
There's the update there for the fans, and then two more, I think, right, AJ?
Two more.
A Batman Deadman, pulled from the White Knight story arc there. So that's a cool entry, an alternate kind of look for Batman and Deadman, obviously. And then last but not least, kind of remastered, recolored Dark Knight Returns figure from the Frank Miller comic book with a wired fabric cape. So yeah, just a great deco scheme on this one that looks fantastic. So thank you all for sticking with us here through the to get to the grand finale. wasn't expecting the power outage, AJ. That's a first for you, right? Yeah.
Now, if there's anything I've learned, you can do as many tech checks as you want before you go live, and the curveball is always a possibility. So yeah, I think.
And that's it. Like, bro. The last two not only are more Batman, which, and here's the thing, I'm a Batman fan, but if you're gonna, we're at that saturation point where if you're doing Batman, you got to do the Batman that people are asking for, or just don't show up at all. It's fine. If it's not ready, then just don't show anything. So instead, we got what I can tell is the Hush Batman body, red with a giant D on the chest, the nylon fabric cape that is thankfully wired, with the big coat, Batman, dead man. I feel dead inside. That should be the title of the clip, the segmented clip. I am dead inside. And that's it.
A Batman dead man.
It's really just this I guess what kind of gets under my skin is knowing that if I genuinely wanted to opt in for completing my whatchamacallit, my McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Batman collection, if I wanted to create like a holistic Batman collection of unique Batmans, period, this really is one that it's just adding another checkbox. You know what I mean? It's just adding and adding and adding, and knowing that it's just a body that I know I've seen before, it's like, it stings. And I know that other companies do the same. Marvel Legends definitely does the same. But with Marvel Legends, it's the reason for why I started buying less and less Marvel Legends, because after a while, I'm like, do I really want to be pulling the same figure out of the box all the time? And then we get to what I think is like, what is this, like number 4? Dark Knight Returns Batman? Because now this guy's starting to creep in there with Nightfall Batman, with the Hush Buck, with the Three Jokers Buck, and even with Keaton. I think we're starting to approach Keaton territory with the Dark Knight Returns Buck, because we had the original that came out in 2021 as part of the Build-A-Figure, the Build-A-Horse. We had the revamped Collector's Edition with its own Platinum variant that had the darker aesthetic. So you kind of want to say there's 2 figures there, but I'll be fair and even say just one. That's one more. But then we had also the comic cover recreation one that was, I think, an Amazon exclusive, where he's like posed like this and he's completely black to mimic like the lightning strike, and even has the background so you can pose him in there with the big rod. Now number 4, which is supposed to be the one finally with the big yellow symbol and the super vibrant color scheming and the wired cape, but I'm like, you're not doing enough here for me. I really want to know what the accessories are here. Because if the accessories are just the lamp post again, and the hands again, and the batarang with the plastic, wraparound, whatever that is, I'll be lying if I said that I wasn't, kind of let down at seeing that this was the, as he just mentioned, the grand finale. I'm like, is it really that grand of a finale? Truly, truly? But that was it. And as some of you in the chat mentioned, there's no mention of Absolute Batman, no mention of the current 2025 all-in comic Batman from Fraction and Jimenez. No. That was it. And on top of not being the best paced live stream that they had, yeah. Is it me or the look off? I want to say it was that color scheming on the face, especially around the shading of the eyes, because they're trying to mimic that look that he had in the comics, where he's like this a lot. And I'm also hoping that it's maybe just the lighting a little bit on the rotating shot, but I think that's what it is. It's an eye shadow, quote unquote. Hi, the Gangbuster kind of did look like a classic Iron Man. So, was there any sort of crossover merging of any kind from what was revealed here at the McFarlane Toy Show versus what's been recently revealed in certain leaked documents pertinent to DC Multiverse for at least the first half of 2026, which is a very vital and important year for the DC license under McFarlane. Yeah, somebody here, brother 21 Friendly said, it's times like these that I'm reminded why McFarlane lost the DC license. How many of Batman and Superman figures do we need? And on the one hand, I want to say that there's some that still need to be checked off, but it's all the more frustrating to see that those are the ones that are still routinely, especially with these McFarlane toy shows, keep getting overlooked. And it's one thing to overlook them, it's another thing to then show us that on the side, you now confirm via a materialized prototype that you literally just paid attention to just repainting a pre-existing figure again. So it kind of gives me an idea where your head's at. So literally just a few days ago, around the same exact time that Ahsoka found those figures or was hooked up with those figures, and then McFarlane may or may not have done damage control by announcing the pre-orders along with a toy show episode, there was also this set of document listings that were then revealed by some people for upcoming DC Multiverse figures, of which also showcased a grand more slew of Batman figures coming up. So in this first slide, it says that we're getting 3 DC Multiverse 7-inch proper figures, so standalone releases. And it's very curious to what we have here in the parentheses, because the first 2 are actually pretty interesting, though that interest could easily dissipate should I see them on some pre-existing bucks. So then the paint work is going to have to ultimately carry and make a compelling argument. And that's going to be the Kelly Jones Batman and the Neil Adams Batman, which I don't know if that's the type of, it's supposed to be is it Neil Adam or Neil Adams? It's Neil Adams, right? I would argue that between these two, I'm actually pretty familiar with the look of the Neil Adams Batman, that if the paint and the right body is tooled together, maybe. What then made me scratch my head is right underneath, it says DC Multiverse 7-inch Batman, Arkham Knight. What Batman could they really pull from Arkham Knight that they haven't already done so? My apologies if I burped into the mic right there. I just noticed. What could this be? Because I'm like, we had the original from 2021. There was that gold Prestige. Unless you guys fix the legs with like a retooled body, what is this? And what other suit is? It's got to be some kind of suit that, oh God, I swear to God, if it's the exact same body, but they did another Prestige kind of repaints to where it's like the red and black one, the Batman Beyond inspired, or the Futura, I think it's called the Futura suit, which is basically all black but with red. A Jokerized variant. The only way that I would pick up this Arkham Knight Batman and have it be Jokerized is if he's truly Jokerized. Spoilers for Arkham Knight, but when Joker takes over for a brief moment and then Batman's got the green eyes and he's doing, look at me, look at my body. And he's starting to scar a little bit. Maybe. But if it's like, but that's not going to happen. If it's Jokerized, it's going to be the traditional way that McFarlane Jokerizes their figures. And I'm like, fucking A. But it doesn't, I think usually when it's a Jokerized figure of any kind, they usually put it here in the parentheses as well in these leaks. So the fact that it doesn't say that, I don't know. Continuing on, more Batman and Supermans. We got DC. This is, oh, wait, hold on. My bad. Batman, Superman, World's Finest. So it's going to be that blue Batman with like the covered mouth. Superman, classic animation, 1940. So the Max Fleischer Batman. Superman. And then Solar Superman. I can't remember what Solar Superman looks like. The reason why I say remembered is because these 3 figures are re-releases with the blister card, aka the Ross pack. So Ross is getting some more figures in the blister card right there for to pick up at a affordable price. Gold label Silver Age Robin and gold label Hush Catwoman. So some completing additions there for either of those incarnations if you guys are interested. Don't know. They kind of sound like they might be Fidgetals. I could be wrong. But yeah. And then I guess I'll start right here. DC McFarlane Collector's Edition 2-pack. So more Superman Red versus... Oh, right here. Superman Red versus Superman Blue. I gotta be honest, I have no idea what that is. Gold label. Collector's Edition 2-pack. I don't know why the 5 is there, but Batman and Robin 66. Is this the 7-inch or the 6-inch? Because it's got to be the 6-inch, because if it's the 7-inch DC Multiverse, that would be the first time we get a Robin in that scale. Because they never released they released the Adam West Batman that came with like all the accessories and such as a singular release, but they never released a Robin. So but I don't know why I get the strongest feeling that this is the reason for why this 5 is here is because it says 5 inches, whereas this says 7 inches. I think this is the smaller, lesser articulated 66 carded Batman figures that they released thus far, and they're just going to take a Batman and a Robin and 2-pack it. I'm willing to almost bet money that that's what that is. The post-city suit, the suit that he has like at the very beginning of Arkham Knight, maybe? And if it is, actually, I might pick that up. If it's that first suit he wears at the very beginning of our Arkham Knight before he finally gets the armorized suit. Maybe? Let's see. DC Multiverse 7-inch with Mega Figure 2-pack, Atrocitus, and Red Lantern Core. I'm trying to see if maybe there's any inclusions here of like what they showed during the show, but not really. It doesn't seem like it. But yeah, Atrocitus and Red Lantern Core 2-pack, so that sounds curious. DC Collector Mega Figure with 12 Bane comic. Dude, how many fucking Banes are we getting? It says comic version gold label. What does that mean? Mega Figure Doomsday, Death of Superman, gold label. How many Banes, Mega Figure Banes, and Mega Figure Doomsdays? How many have we had already? Of each of those? Like 2 or 3? Okay, Captain. Yeah, I didn't know which one was which. In the middle here, DC Theatrical 7-inch Batman Justice League gold label. And then Poison Ivy from Batman and Robin. Okay, so as I mentioned when we were recapping the show and they were showing the statues, it'll be nice if we get a comic-based Poison Ivy figure. We are getting another Poison Ivy figure. It's just not comic-based. It's the Batman and Robin one again, gold label. I don't know what's going to be different about her. I guess being theatrical. Oh wait, theatrical 7-inch. So is it going to be theatrical deluxe or just a standard release. I want to say it's gonna be theatrical deluxe, kind of like they did with recently Bane and Joker, and they're gonna do it with Batman, Justice League, bro. I swear to fucking God, if this is the theatrical deluxe edition of Batman from Justice League and it's just the tactical suit that they bundled in the crowdfund and now they're just going to re-release it like that, then what the fuck was the point of the crowdfund? Poison Ivy, same thing. I'm like, all right, if it's going to be theatrical deluxe edition and not the Build-A-Freeze, what are you going to toss in there to replace the Mr. Freeze pieces? Because I swear to God, if you don't replace those pieces with something else like plant tendrils or whatever, and it's just her by herself, but you're charging the same price, you can fuck right off. Okay, you know what? Maybe it's not, because notice it says theatrical, but then down here it does say theatrical deluxe. So I'm praying that this is just a simple $25 7-inch release. And then the $35 theatrical deluxe are these down here. We have a battle damage Catwoman from Batman Returns. So that battle damage extra head that we wish could have been tossed in that original theatrical deluxe for the Returns wave is now getting its own figure. So if you want the battle damage head, you have to pay the extra $35. If you want a pre-assembled Batman and Robin Mr. Freeze, you got the $35 right here. Out of nowhere, another 2022 Pattinson Batman in theatrical deluxe edition. So it's probably going to be, I'm willing to bet my money and say it's probably going to be the Ultimate Movie 6-pack Pattinson Batman that was in there. And he's probably going to have all the hands instead of just having one or the other or your option. The grapple, and then I don't know what else he could possibly have to compensate for that price point. I don't know. I legit do not know what else you could possibly have in there. The only thing out of this whole last batch here that is compelling to hear or to see it listed here is, of course, theatrical deluxe edition Commissioner Gordon from The Dark Knight. We're getting a Gordon. The only one that I can look at and go, okay, that might be kind of neat. I'll have to see photos, but it's the only one that I looked at and I heard the Metal Gear Solid alarm, you know. And I technically on the side here through Reddit did open up what's pretty much the same exact leaked document, only kind of compartmentalized here, just in a little bit neater for your viewing pleasure if you guys want to kind of screen grab that. But it's essentially the same thing, with addition of the Q-Fig stuff that I personally do not care about, which I guess you could argue is probably the only thing that is connected to what was shown on the McFarlane Toy Show episode stream. But you know what was not shown in either the stream, the episode live stream from McFarlane Toys, or this leaked document? Still no Absolute Batman. Still no current 2025 comic all-in Batman. No Arkham Knight Batmobile. And like I said, out of those three, the Arkham Knight Batmobile, you guys had plenty of time to R&D that. The 2025 Fraction Jimenez is a little more recent, to the point where I'm like, all right, maybe there's still potential that they're working on that right now. But the Absolute Batman, I got to be honest, little by little, I'm starting to lose a little bit of faith. I'm losing just a little bit of faith on that one, guys. I'm being brutally honest. I can't shake it. Skellybone says unmasked Pattinson head on the side. Maybe. Take the Drifter head. I pray to God that they fixed it. Because you guys can look up on my channel, I have a review of that Pattinson Drifter variant, and the head is terrible. It's the ugliest thing. It's the ugliest MySpace looking son of a bitch that I've ever seen. So if they can fix that and then toss that in with the fabric cape, the extra hands, the grapple, Maybe a couple of more utilities that he used. Maybe some Riddler, some cute little Riddler cards that he can hold. Maybe I'll double dip, but that's a huge maybe. Huge maybe. I'm not like super excited about it. But yeah, guys, I gotta be honest. I'm starting to lose faith that we're gonna get a DC Multiverse Absolute Batman. I don't know what it is, but I feel like I think I might have said this already before, earlier in the year when they did their last live stream, and then when there were some other things coming down the pipeline where I was like, guys, if we hit like Comic-Con time and they still don't reveal an Absolute Batman, I think that might be it. If McFarlane made a pack of variant heads of all their figures, it would sell. I mean, yeah, Captain, you're right. But because that makes logical sense, they're not going to do it. So, yeah, wanted to kind of touch base a little bit there on those leaks. And to be honest, I guess we only got like really one more quick topic that I wanted to kind of cover, and it's really just like a hey guys, check this out sort of segment. We have a customizer here. His name is Tony May. Tony May, who's apparently one of the collaborators. It's a project between someone named Tran Tuan. Hopefully I'm not pronouncing that name. He's a 3D artist. And Tony May, who I think is maybe a sculptor of some kind, developer. They're creating a custom 1/6 scale animated series Batman. And I wonder who May Kai is. Oh, May Kai. May. It's their name combined. It's their company name. But yeah, look at this. 1/6 scale animated series Batman. It is a custom though. It's not official. Lord knows if he's ever willing to make commission units to sell. And even if he does, I can't imagine this being any less than like $800, $900 for, parts and labor, which totally makes sense, but it'll be like outside of the realm of possibility. But yeah, just wanted to kind of showcase this a little bit because I think it does look kind of neat. The face is probably just a little bit on the big side, like this person I think might have highlighted. Oh no, it's the color. Yeah, I guess I could kind of see the color being a little iffy. But for a custom figure, this is a custom. Not bad. And it kind of puts things into perspective, since I know that right now Jazz Inc. is working on a 1/6 scale animated series Batman with the felt fabric and 2 different body types, a realistic one and a Bruce Timm animated version 1. And right on the eve of hopefully the Mesco one, the Mesco animated series Batman, which some people overseas are already getting in their hands and have been taking some photos and videos of, that actually looks like they might have fixed the proportions on it and making it look a little bit better. It's just around the corner of releasing. Supposedly this month, Mesco will finally release their animated series Batman, which I technically do have a pre-order for. So yeah, these are the initial photos, and then over here on Instagram, he technically does have a video. So look at that. Project by Marquez and Tony May. Silicone body has arrived for sizing. Note, this is still prototype. All joints are not correct properly. All parts have been revised and readjusted to be closer to the original concept art. Need to tweak some parts for better fitting on the silicone body. All hands and redesigns. Don't need to finalize the design. Need to redesign the suit pattern for better fitting. Yeah, so it would be insane if he actually does offer to sell like some units, or if he's making it so that then somebody else can mass produce. I doubt it, severely doubt it, but. And over here, I think he's got the carousel. Yeah, it's the same photos. So yeah, so you see him right here kind of messing around a little bit with the articulation. Yeah, the fact that he can actually cross his arms and drape the cape, he looks sick in that photo. Fuck it. I just got charged $120, but I know why. My epidemic sound license. And yeah, I remember it was around this time last year that I bought it, so it got renewed. Oh well. But yeah, anyways, just wanted to showcase that a little bit, and on a much more uplifting note, especially since, like I said, it's these customizers and sometimes third parties that are now starting to show what they can do when companies that are a bit more on the corporate side, despite being licensed, like I said, are starting to get a little bit complacent. Looks better than the Mondo. It's funny because technically I do have the 1/6 animated series Mondo. It's in storage, but I remember I messed with it one time. I unboxed it to obviously check that it's all good. And even though everything was included and it was solid and it wasn't broken, it was just as advertised, I will admit I was a little like, it kind of feels like a really large DC Direct figure, just bigger. And that's it. That's what Mondo does. So, but I still kept it. I still have it in storage. It definitely feels like the kind of figure that if I want to do a video on it, I should get on it toot sweet, make some kind of retrospective video on it, and then probably immediately after the video, I might throw it up on my listings to be like, hey, I'll make a deal for it. I don't know. And Captain, I actually have that Pop Mart Hush Batman. I actually have it back there someplace. I have to look for it. But I came in recently, actually, just about 5 days ago, 4 days ago. I just been busy with other things that are coming down the pipeline that I haven't managed to actually like unbox it and actually mess with it. So hopefully in due time, I'll cover it. Okay. So, guys, I said that I wanted to start streaming earlier so I can leave a little earlier, and this is honestly around the time that I kind of wanted to wrap things up. So, perfect timing. So I can head out here. So, thank you guys for tuning in. We managed to cover the McFarlane Toy Show, in all of its wonderful, woeful glory. But also managed to kind of cross-reference that with also the recent leaks and the state of McFarlane as it is. Going into the remainder of 2026 and whether or not they're going to go out with a bang or with a whimper and where we stand in regards to collecting from them. Like I said, right now, my final verdict is that I'm semi on the hunt for the Bethlehem Batman with the coat because of how unique it looks, but I'm not going out of my way to like drive so far to, go hunting the way that I traditionally would. I'm only going through Walmarts if I'm going in there for a specific reason or if I'm within the vicinity and trying it out. Otherwise, that along with the remainder of the wave. Oh no. My stream knows that it's dying. I'm telling you, I need to fix this like arm joint that's super, super loose. I need to get like a washer or something to kind of hold it. See, even my camera's tired. Anyways. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with McFarlane right now. Otherwise, I'm sticking to imports. I'm sticking to, like Captain mentioned, the Hush Batman, the Hush Gong Cross Pop Mart Batman. I got something from InArt, actually. So look forward to that. A little on the late side, but I am going to be covering it on the channel nonetheless. Definitely some more stuff from Mafex, since finally looks like they're getting their release window, their release schedule a bit more lined up, a little bit better. Now that they got Rogue out of the way, they can finally tackle that kind of stuff. The stuff that's been delayed, that's kind of become a bit of a domino effect from that. What else? I guess technically some figure arts. I technically already paid off the Gamerverse Marvel vs. Capcom Spider-Man from figure arts. Just waiting for it to release. And Hobby Genki, get on that when they release it, hopefully soon. Supposedly they said by end of March, so hopefully in the next few weeks. And then, of course, J.M. Herrera, as you mentioned, stuff from LPZZ. Kind of curious as to whether or not if there's any kind of update regarding the second batch of Batman Who Laughs and them tackling those QC issues. Whether or not Red Death is actually going to be able to meet its release date by end of Q1 and going into Q2. Not Red Death, but Arkham Knight, because you mentioned that photos are going to be dropping for that one, and seeing what else comes from that. So, all right, like I said, that about does it for me, guys. Voice is starting to run out, and I gotta get out of here so that I can finally celebrate my girlfriend's birthday in peace, because it is my girlfriend's birthday today. So I should probably prioritize that now. So JM Herrera, Skelly Bones, Pepe Instigator, aka Brian's New Dishwasher, Captain Have Fun's World. Who else was here? CM Bronk, Jason's Electric. I know he was in here a little bit earlier. And then we had a couple of people that I never seen their names before, but I'm glad you guys popped in. So Peter Malign 555. Gavin Smee, thank you for joining. Kairos 1, DC should make a comeback. Sorry, I missed your comment earlier. Who else was here earlier? I know I got one other name. At least one other name. And the chat was bustling, so if some of these names get pushed back, I apologize. Yeah, I think some of the names might have gotten lost because the chat can only go back so far. Miss Dark Spider, tell her I said Dark Spider. I will tell her that you guys said happy birthday. So appreciate you guys. SHF can be kind of loose, but my Japanese friends love that game over Spidey. Yeah, there's some shots. It's funny because every time I see a post saying, is it just me or does this figure look kind of terrible? There is a common denominator, and the denominator is that the photo always has him in a neutral pose of him just like this. And I think it's creating a bit of a cognitive dissonance effect where it's like we're so used to Marvel vs. Capcom Spidey always looking super exaggerated in poses that whenever you do pose him naturally, everyone's like, ugh. And I'm like, try doing the classic like stance where he's fighting when he's doing the attacks, because I did play a little bit of MVC2 back in my day. I wasn't like hardcore about it, but I did play. And yeah, every time I saw Spidey in that game, he would always be in some kind of crazy exaggerated pose because that's the way Capcom styled him. So yeah, I'm wondering if it's like a very pose-driven figure. So I'm curious of how that's going to turn out. So look for that review whenever that happens. But yeah, otherwise, guys, I'm out of here. I'm ready to get kind of late here. And I'll see you guys on the next stream, whenever that may be, whenever there's enough topics to talk about. And again, look out for a community post. That's probably going to be a poll where I ask people if they want to have moments out of the stream segmented and still go up on this channel, or should there be a second channel that's dedicated to like clips and just have it be the clips channel from the streams. I don't know. That's just going to be like rambling bullshit, kind of like how Uncle Tim's Rants and Reviews does now. Kind of like that, maybe. I don't know. So yeah, look out for that community post, and if you guys see it, please vote on it, because the feedback would be greatly appreciated. Otherwise, guys, I'm out of here. Thank you for joining, and as always, take care and stay humble. See you later.